Hi guys, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope it's tonight. It might be in the morning. I never know when you're going to watch these, so I guess I should just leave out the tonight or this morning and just say, hi guys, how's everyone doing? I wanted to thank you all for your comments again and your emails. I'm getting emails like crazy, and I wasn't even able to check my email account that goes to the Mommy Ramblings address. I haven't even been able to have a chance to check that today. So I just want to let you know, if you are emailing me, I am not ignoring your emails. And I know some of you are sending me a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff to look over. And I will get to it. It will take time for me to get to it. I'm probably going to have to print. Some of you are sending me like mini novels, so which I love, but I have to print them out and read them when I can. And so I just don't want you to think I'm ignoring you, because I just have so many comments to keep up with, so many emails, plus my normal blog emails. And you guys have to understand, I'm a professional blogger, so that's what I do. So I have to stay in contact with the companies that I work with and all of that. So I can't let that fall by the wayside. So I have to be attentive on that side of it, and it's a lot. So I will get to your emails and comments. It just may take me a little bit, but I'm not ignoring you guys. And I do appreciate all of your support. It's been wonderful. So thank you for all of that. And tonight we're going to go back full time on the Chris Watts case. I'm just going to address a couple of things that have come up in the comments that people have been, debating back and forth. Were there cadaver dogs? Were there not cadaver dogs? And I know that I saw it in the discovery, so I went back and I pulled the part of it. So just so we can put some things to bed and know, because there's a lot of rumors and there's a lot of things flying out there. So this is right from the discovery that I'm going to read to you here. And this says, while in the home, a track dog was asked to enter, as there had been some indication from the cadaver dog that a struggle or argument may have ensued. Jeff Hebert and his canine entered the home. Jeff stated that his dog showed interest in the unmade bed in the basement area, and an area just below the stairs, but did not do any final trained alerts. We exited the basement and went upstairs to the garage. No indicators were noted in the garage, and we exited the home. So yes, they had cadaver dogs and they had rescue dogs. Okay? So both of them were there. So everyone that's been debating that, you're both right, or we're both right. They had rescue and cadaver dogs. Now, the other one about the video, okay, because I can't even remember what I do anymore if I address this in the other one. I know we had a glitch last night when we were playing that one that was crazy. People couldn't get on. They told me people were getting the announcement an hour later. So I don't know what happened. I hope that this one is okay. But the video that somebody said, the one that he watched over at the neighbor's house, right? There was a lot of debate whether that was the real video or had it been cut off. And I said, well, think about it, guys. If you're saying to me that there's another video and that this is an altered one that we're watching, and the original video shows him clearly carrying bodies, do you not think he would be arrested on the spot? Do you not think Nate would have said something completely different on the camera? Even in the discovery, it's noted that you can't make it out. So I know I don't know where the information comes from, and I know sometimes whether it's another online publication that's not exactly credible that print different things, like Radar Online or something, or it's another YouTuber that's just saying something or they're speculating something. Really, I'm looking at the facts here, and there is nothing to indicate that that video has been altered in any way, shape, or form. Go in and read the discovery yourself. Go back and look at the tape where Nate is showing it to Chris, and you'll see. If you could clearly see bodies, do you think Chris would have just, he acted nervous, but I think he would have acted a heck of a lot more than nervous, and he would have been arrested, and Agent Coder wouldn't have to sit there and do what he did if they clearly saw him carrying the bodies out of the house, right? They wouldn't have had to tell him the Alexa. Now, let's go back to that Alexa. Whether or not that Alexa can pick up in distress situations, their Alexa did not show any indication, and that's in the discovery too. Now that goes back to like that Susan Smith case where they can use fabricated details or elements in order to get a confession. So that's not illegal. It's legal to do that. And just like they were going to show Susan Smith that fabricated newspaper article, I think Agent Coder was trying to make Chris think that that Alexa had picked up on, had recorded information in a distress situation. But that didn't work. Oh, about the hair dye. A lot of you were saying, oh no, it was an auto ship, it was this, it was that. Where are you finding this? Agent Coder mentioned it as a catalyst for an argument between Chris and Shanann. I'm not finding it anywhere else in the discovery as of yet. I haven't gone through every little piece of everything. I had a commenter that said she searched for it in the discovery and couldn't find anything that said it was an auto ship. So I'm not sure, again, where this is coming from. Is this coming from just another YouTuber? Is this coming from somebody else's comment or whatever? Just, know when you take something that, just try to make sure it's backed up and just don't accept anything blindly because you don't know what's out there. So far I cannot find anything on it. And I'm not saying it's not there. It may be in the discovery somewhere. I haven't gone through every single piece yet. But from what I'm looking, at so far, I don't see it. And I see Agent Coder, Special Agent Coder, talking about the purchase and her card being declined as a catalyst to start an argument. The last thing I'm going to say is, please compare your transcripts. If you get transcripts, first make sure if they're transcripts or if they're summaries. Huge difference. And then even when you have a transcript, if you take it up against the video, probably 95% will be good unless it's something like Ronnie Watts, which they don't even have a transcript for. But Chris, there's very key words that I picked up on, like the word vanished. He says vanished, but in the transcript it's not vanished. And he says, you can look up this one, when he says that his friend Mark is divorced, it doesn't come across as divorced, it comes across as worst. So yeah, there's little, words in there that can be big, make a big difference, is what I want to say. So make sure that you compare it, if you're really going to analyze this, that you compare it to the video interrogations when you do that. Okay, so what I want to do first is go over something that I saw in a Ronnie Watts summary, just one little thing that kind of speaks to what we were talking about, Chris having any previous girlfriends, okay? If we go back to Chris's relationship video, we're going to see he does he recites that again in his interrogation that we're going to go over. But Chris is not just one, because of his inability to show emotion and him being such an introverted person, he's not just going to be like this big ladies man going into Target and hitting on all these women. It's not in his character, which is why someone at work that could get to know him and go after him is going to be someone that, he would have the affair with. So let's see what Ronnie says. This would have been the one where we couldn't understand what Ronnie was saying, and this was after Chris confessed. Has never known his son Christopher to have used drugs, have any mental health issues, or to include depression, nor have any violent tendencies to his knowledge. Christopher has never taken any medication for mental health issues and was a strong student in school. Christopher participated in many sports growing up and prioritized that and his schoolwork over dating. Okay, so instead of saying it's a little odd that he was socially awkward or whatever they want to call it. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has to date in high school. There's plenty of people that didn't date in high school that don't turn out to be family annihilators. Okay? That's not what I'm saying here. But if I read between the lines, the way this is coming out, to me, the parents are trying to say, trying to justify that he chose his studies and sports over dating. But maybe they in the back of their mind of wondering why he's not dating or anything, you know what I mean? Or if maybe he didn't even have any interest, or he was scared to approach girls. And again, if you have, there's a lot of shy guys and stuff, and they don't start dating till after high school. It doesn't mean that they're going to be a family annihilator, but I'm just saying in Chris's case, we may be seeing the severest side of it. Christopher was asked to the prom by a girl instead of asking someone himself. Recently, Christopher had lost a lot of weight, and following the weight loss program Shanann was promoting, Watts felt that Christopher did not want to participate in it, but was doing it because Shanann was forcing him to. First of all, so he was asked to the prom by somebody. So we know that basically he didn't have a girlfriend, and we haven't heard of any other girlfriends besides Shanann, right? And like I told you the other time, I don't believe that he was on Tinder or anything like that, because that would have been so awkward for him. Meeting someone at work is where he would have been comfortable, and where they could have pursued the relationship. The female could have pursued the relationship more than if he's walking in a Target, okay? Because even if somebody calls out to him, you're not going to build that Target unless she's a cashier there and he's going in every single day. But so that's the reason, it worked well in Nicole's favor, because it was at work and she pursued it. So even though he was the one that contacted Shanann and she pushed him away, he at that time was pursuing it a little more, because maybe, who knows, maybe he had some pressure on him at the age of, what had he been, 20, what was he, 25, 26 when he was doing that? Or they were together 8 years, wait, he's 33, right? And they were together 8 years, so wherever, he was 25. So maybe by 25, if he hadn't had a girlfriend, maybe that cousin of his that told him, maybe she was pushing him forward. Maybe he was going back and telling her, like, she said it's not her time. Maybe somebody was behind that, like a Cyrano de Bergerac, right? Do I have the name right? Talking to him and telling him how to get the girl. So could be that. Then he says, then he went on to say that he didn't want this weight loss. Well, we know that's a downright lie. We know that he was always talking about his abs, his six-pack, and eating healthy and clean eating, and that's like one of the ways he bonded with his mistress, right? And he says Watts believed that neither Christopher nor Shanann wanted another child. Okay. That's something that I clearly heard in there. He said it was all Shanann. He even used that 80-20. So that is something that you have to be really careful in a summary versus what really comes out of the person's mouth. Because that part I heard, and he said, and the mother said it as well, Chris didn't want another baby. And then the father used the 80-20, and then he said, then she came around here and she said it was 70, it was 70-30, all Chris that want, she was 70-30 against it, and Chris was all for it. And he said, well, that's her. Remember I told you the last time? She twists things around, she flips things around to show what she wants to show. So yeah, so this is a part where the summary is completely wrong. All right, so the next thing he says is that Watts described Shanann as being extremely bipolar and having paranoid tendencies towards his wife, the grandmother of their children. In one instance, Shanann accused Watts' wife, of trying to kill her kids by exposing them to peanuts for which they had an allergy. Pistachios. It was an ice cream. They both don't have an allergy. Cece has an allergy. You see how things don't get there? So they're saying that it was all Shanann. She was paranoid. And, Cindy was doing nothing to instigate any drama. A few weeks prior, when Shanann was last in North Carolina, it was very contentious. And Shanann spent the majority of time at her parents' house, refusing to allow Watts and his wife to see the grandchildren. But that's not what we see. We see in the text messages from Shanann that they didn't bother to come to Cece's birthday party. She had nothing against them coming around the grandchildren. It was that she couldn't take them to their house anymore because she didn't know what they were going to do, what they were going to have. But they were welcome at Cece's birthday party, and you can see the text. She says they didn't come, they didn't even call. So again, Ronnie's version. Watts could not reconcile why Christopher admitted to killing Shanann, because this is after, okay? Towards the conclusion of the interview, Watts played a video on the phone for agents which showed his wife playing with Christopher and Shanann's 2 daughters. We saw that, so, okay, so Cindy had her moment in the spotlight where she's going to use that to say, see, I'm a really good person. I was playing with the kids. And then she was reading that 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that where he said, the weight loss and everything is all Shanann's fault, and where he says about her being so paranoid towards his wife. And he also says that the prom thing and the girlfriend thing, which we've been talking about, wondering about. Okay, I have right from the discovery, this is a handwritten note from one of the investigators on there. It goes on the back. And this, it says check August 13th. Pause a couple of blocks away for 4 minutes at 1401 hours at 6507 Blackberry Road prior to meeting Conrad. Now that is his pause when I believe he goes to check out that house that the realtor showed him, but he may have used that to drop off boots and things like that at that site. So they were checking on that, which was interesting. Okay. And then we have Nate and Amanda Thayer, okay? So Amanda used to work at the school, and then Nick was like a running partner with Chris, and I believe Amanda was either a customer of Lavelle or she worked as I don't know if she did it as a business or she just ordered from Lavelle, but they got to know each other through the Primrose School and through Lavelle. Now, Amanda's brother had passed away, I believe it's on the 8th of August. So she was down, I believe it's in Kentucky, for the funeral and everything. And they arrived back on the 13th, the day that Shanann and the girls went missing. And Nick messaged Chris and said, I'm back, when can you run? And that's when Chris tells him, well, there's a little bit of a situation here. We got a situation. So let's just take a look at their interviews with the police. Take Amanda first. Now it says, Amanda Thayer, hereafter referred to as Amanda, was being interviewed. Amanda is a child care director at the Goddard School. Okay, that's in Thornton, Colorado. They moved from Frederick to Thornton, so she took another position. And she has a bachelor's degree in human development and family studies. Amanda met Shanann Watts, hereafter referred to as Shanann, in approximately August of 2016 in Erie, Colorado. At the time, Amanda was the director at the Primrose School where Shanann's girls, Bella and Celeste, attended. Amanda got to know Shanann as a parent of the girls. Amanda and Shanann talked every day at drop-offs and pickups. Amanda gave Shanann her telephone number to arrange playdates. Their first playdate was in February of 2017, which was attended by Amanda and Shanann, as well as their husbands, Nick and Chris. I'm just looking, there's a typo here. It says, as well as their husbands, Nick, Amanda, and Christopher Watts. And they mean Nick Thayer and Chris Watts. Okay. Hereafter referred to as Nick and Chris. Their friendship blossomed. They talked every day and hung out 3 out of every 4 weekends. Their girls became close as well. Shanann sold products from home through a company called Lavelle. Salespeople are known as thrivers. Shanann and Amanda communicated via telephone, text, and in person, and they texted daily and talked on the telephone almost daily. The Thayers previously lived near Shanann in Frederick, Colorado, but when the Thayers moved to Thornton, Colorado in June of 2018, they talked less since Amanda was busy with work and the move. Amanda started employment at the Goddard School in March of 2018. Amanda saw Shanann approximately once a month since moving to Thornton. Chris and Shanann came to the house, and the two families attended movie in the park night in Frederick in June. Throughout the duration of the interview, Amanda referred to her cell phone to aid in the recollection of dates, times, and the context of phone calls. Shanann and Chris went to San Diego on 6/22/2018 for the weekend and came home on 6/25/2018. Shanann's dad came to visit on 6/28/2018. On approximately 6/29/2018, Shanann and the girls and her dad flew to North Carolina to visit the family for 6 weeks. I believe that is totally a mistake. Her father wouldn't come out for one day. Her father came out. He was watching the girls while they were on the San Diego trip, and then he flew to North Carolina with Shanann so she didn't have to be alone on the flight with the two girls. And so, yeah, she's got that wrong, but, what are you going to do? Shanann, the girls, and her dad flew to North Carolina to visit the family for 6 weeks, and they returned home. Meaning Chris, who had gone out there. Chris, Shanann, and the girls, not her father, around 8/4 or 8/5. I believe it was 8/8 that they returned. Last Thursday, the 10th, Shanann traveled to Arizona and got home Monday morning. Amanda stated the last time she saw Chris was on July 4th at the Thornton Recreation Center for the fireworks show. So Amanda went with Nick and her daughter Emily and her brother-in-law and sister-in-law. At that time, Shanann was in North Carolina. Amanda overheard Chris talking to Nick about Shanann, trying to FaceTime. But the service wasn't great. Chris was telling Nick he tries to hide if he's having any fun when Shanann's out of town because it upsets her. Chris further stated that if he doesn't answer his phone, like when he's in the shower or working out, Shanann gets upset. So Chris is laying some groundwork here. He's laying some groundwork so that if Shanann should call them, okay, and say, hey, I haven't heard from Chris, or hey, this, that, or the other thing, that they're just going to say, oh, that's just Shanann. Chris said if he's in the shower, she gets like really upset. Can you believe that? And he can't show her he's having any fun. Poor guy. Wow, she must be really something. He's laying the groundwork, okay? And this is probably orchestrated by his mistress, okay? Lay the groundwork with your friends that your wife is really paranoid, Ronnie, and, she's accusing you of things behind, if you don't, she flips out if you're in the shower or if you're working out, and she flips out if you're having fun anywhere. Let them know what she is. Let them know she's completely paranoid and delusional. So that's what the groundwork that he's laying. Amanda had a telephone conversation with Shanann just before Shanann and the girls left for North Carolina. Shanann told Amanda that she and Chris were very close, like their hands were all over each other. Amanda's brother recently passed away, and Shanann had been comforting Amanda recently. On Thursday, the 9th of August, Amanda texted Shanann to see if she was available for a three-way call to discuss the Lavelle business issues. So she is in the Lavelle business, not just a customer. Shanann responded by text saying she was available, and then she stated, sorry for being so distant. A lot is going on personally. Amanda asked if she was okay and if she wanted to talk, and Shanann responded, way too much to text. Amanda asked Shanann to call her. Amanda and Shanann began a phone conversation on August 9th, 2018 at 7:00 a.m. Amanda stated the following about that conversation. The first week, Shanann and the girls were in North Carolina. She and Chris had a lot of phone sex at that time. Shanann also said there was an incident involving Chris's mother involving ice cream. All the grandkids were over at the house, and the girls wanted ice cream. However, Celeste is allergic. One of the other children got ice cream, she says, with peanuts as well. And Celeste asked for some. When Chris's mom said no, an argument between Shanann and Chris's mom ensued about Shanann coddling Celeste and about the treatment of her kids in general. Chris flew to North Carolina to join the family during the last week they were there. Chris was very distant. He didn't run to her and kiss her at the airport when he picked her up. Chris was not interested in taking pictures together, which was very unusual. Convenient. We wouldn't want the mistress to be upset or jealous or paranoid, Chris, about seeing pictures of you and your wife, because, after all, she asked you to go out there and repair your marriage. Should make her happy when she's doing her Facebook stalking, but isn't it, is it, Chris? She didn't want you to repair your marriage, and that's why you're hiding and in the shadows with your wife, and you won't take any pictures, right? At certain times, Chris didn't want to hug her and told her he didn't want to. Chris was not communicating, and Shanann felt lost. While in North Carolina, Celeste had a birthday party. Chris's mother and father didn't show up and also didn't text Shanann or Chris. Since that time, Chris started to get distant from Shanann. Shanann thought Chris's parents loved the other grandkids more than Celeste and Bella. It was a burden for them to talk to Celeste and Bella. Chris's parents also did not attend Shanann and Chris's wedding. Chris told Shanann that Shanann was putting a barrier between Chris and his dad. I think he actually said a dagger, right? Chris told Shanann that they were no longer compatible. Chris told her he didn't want the baby. He just wanted it to be the two girls. Chris told her that he wasn't interested, that he wasn't sure if he wanted a third child. Shanann asked Chris why he wanted another child if he felt that way about her. He said he thought it would fix the relationship. Remember in Chris's presentation? He said the baby will fix the relationship. When every relationship expert tells you that a baby is not going to fix the relationship, if you already have issues, it's going to add more stress to the relationship. But, Chris is a scholar. Let's not forget, he's a relationship expert. They were having a lot of sex prior to North Carolina trip. Shanann and Chris were both happy, and Chris was excited about the baby. Chris said he was considering separating from Shanann. Shanann asked Chris to see a therapist, but he refused. Shanann was 100% against separation. Chris wouldn't talk to her. During the above conversation, Amanda suggested to Shanann that she and Chris go away for the weekend of 8/17. Amanda offered to watch the kids and the dog. Shanann texted back on 8/9 at 1:15 and said, Chris agreed to go away, which I'm in total shock. We know why he agreed to go away. Sure, make the reservation and everything. He had his plan. And it wasn't going to be Shanann that he was taking on that trip. It was going to be his mistress that he was taking on that trip, right? But his plan, he didn't have a very well thought out plan. And Nicole, Shanann's friend, foiled everything for him. And so, he was done before he could even have like a half a day of, wasn't even of without being hounded by the police and interrogations. I mean, that is just crazy. And he took 4 lives. I mean, just an insane person here. So Shanann asks Amanda, are you sure you don't mind? Friday or Saturday? What day works for you? Amanda was at work, so she didn't respond. And Shanann texted again at 6:18 p.m. If we left Friday, what time could you be here? After 6? Amanda said yes, and Shanann agreed. Amanda stated that was the last text she ever received from Shanann. Amanda traveled to Kentucky for her brother's funeral, and when she arrived there, she texted Shanann on Friday the 10th at 8 o'clock. Amanda asked Shanann if she had found out the sex of the baby. There was no response from Shanann, which was unusual. Amanda sent a message via Facebook Messenger to a mutual friend, Cassandra Rosenberg, and told her she hadn't heard from Shanann. Amanda and Rosenberg talked, and on Monday, 8:13, Amanda and Nick arrived back in Colorado from Kentucky at approximately 2:30 p.m. Amanda had a few messages from friends of Shanann, and they were asking if Amanda had heard from Shanann. Amanda texted Shanann at 2:57 p.m. Hey lady, we just got back. Let's chat about this weekend. Amanda received a familiar auto reply from Shanann that she used whenever she was driving. Safety first. I'm driving with do not disturb while driving turned on. I'll see your message when I get where I'm going. The last part of the auto reply had some extra wording Amanda hadn't seen before, which stated, I'm not receiving notifications. If this is urgent, reply urgent to send a notification with your original message. Amanda sent one more message to Shanann asking when Shanann was getting back to Colorado, but received no response. Rosenberg called Amanda at 4:09 p.m. They talked about Shanann being missing and shared their thoughts. At 4:17 p.m. on the 13th, Nicole Atkinson called Amanda. Nicole is also a Lavelle thriver. She was upset about Shanann disappearing, and she had talked to the police. Nicole told Amanda that Shanann's purse, car, phone, and the girls' medications were all at the home. Atkinson was aware of the neighbor's security camera, which showed Chris backing up his truck and heading to work. Nicole said Chris had stuff in his garage for work. Atkinson told Amanda that Chris's story had changed. Chris said Shanann was leaving with the girls for a playdate at 5:30 a.m. Amanda stated she could not recall what other story Chris had told. Atkinson further told Amanda that Chris told Rosenberg one thing and told Atkinson another thing. When Amanda and Nick arrived home from their Kentucky trip and were unpacking, they were worried about Chris, so Nick texted Chris. Amanda and Nick decided to go see Chris, and they arrived at Chris's house around 6 or 6:30 p.m. They asked Chris what happened and where was Shanann, what was known and not known. Chris's phone was blowing up. NK was blowing that phone up as well as all of Shanann's friends. Chris and Shanann were having problems and were separating. Around 4 a.m. that morning, Chris had got up from work and Shanann got up with him. We know all about this, okay? It was the emotional conversation. I don't think we have to go through this part again. And so we hear all that whole story from Chris. Total fabrication. Okay. When Chris got home, Nicole had already called the police. He saw Nicole peeking in the windows, trying to get in. Chris opened the door and Nicole let herself in and started searching the house. Nicole was telling her son where to go and where to look at places in the house. Amanda stated that by the time in the conversation they had moved into the kitchen, Chris was pacing. Amanda recalled asking him questions about the windows and doors and if they were locked, and Chris seemed numb and lost. His face looked like Amanda's when she lost her brother, almost like not believing it. Chris said he noticed a taxi cab charge on his credit card statement, which posted on 8/13/2018. Amanda asked Nicole, whom Shanann traveled to Arizona with, if she and Shanann took a taxi ride. Nicole told Amanda she and Shanann took one Lyft ride. Chris mentioned that it was too quiet in the house. He just wanted to hug and hold them, wanted them all to come back. Chris stated, "It's empty here. I need my family back." Chris talked about how bizarre it was that Shanann didn't have her phone with her. Chris, Amanda, and Nick talked about going door to door to ask the neighbors questions, but they found out the police were doing that. Amanda and Nick were trying to call people for any information. Chris said he had just called the hospitals in the area. Amanda and Nick stayed at Chris's house until approximately 8 p.m. They offered to have Chris stay the night at their home. Chris said he wanted to stay at his house in case they came home. And he wanted to clean up the kids' toys, Chris said. "I want to clean up for them when they come home." Okay, first of all, this conflicts so much with him, what NK said when she said that he said he was going to go to work because if she saw his truck, she would be scared to come home, right? But he told media reports that he had every light in the house on, like that country song, hoping that she'd see it and come home. So two vastly different versions of that story. And then what kind of father of a missing children wants to clean up their toys? I'm not going to clean up their toys. It's like, it's the exact opposite. It's like, I want their toy there, right? That's why he closed the doors upstairs, because he said he couldn't see the toys anymore. He didn't want to see the toys. It was too hurtful. And Lauren, her friend, said that there were toys in the living room. So, yeah, I guess it was for another reason. Maybe his guilty conscience. Who knows? Maybe I have to reset my life and these toys are in my way and I have to clean. Right? So, yeah. It's more like it, Chris. That's what you're going to be thinking when your wife and your kids are gone. You're going to think, I really want to clean this house up. Because we know how messy the house was, right? There's police going in there. I said to my husband, oh my gosh, it's a good thing that one of us is not missing, because police would be like, oh my gosh, there was a struggle and there was a fight and it looks like some things were missing. Do we have an accounting for this room? Oh my gosh, I would die. I would just die if they were going through my house like that. She was some heck of a housekeeper there. So, yeah, I'm sure that Chris really, that's like on the high priority that he's got to clean up an already clean house. No, he's not cleaning up an already clean house. He's trying to get clues and DNA and fingerprints and all of that stuff out of there. The next day, The 14th, Amanda and Nick were with Chris most of the day. They arrived at Chris's house around 9 a.m. and stayed until approximately 4 p.m. And remember, he was going to go to work, and it says somewhere in his interview they told him not to come in. He was going to go to work, but his neighbors weren't. Right? That seems good. Okay, so they arrived at Chris's house around 9 a.m. and stayed until approximately 4 p.m. There was a lot of silence during the day. They talked about the news crews, some canines walked through the house, and police were all around. Amanda was spending time on Facebook providing updates. Chris mentioned that his dad was coming to town. Shanann's mother called Chris and was disrespectful to him. Amanda and Nick invited Chris to spend the night at their house, and Chris accepted. Amanda and Nick returned home. Chris still had news people at his house and waited until they left. In anticipation of Chris coming to the house, the Thayers ordered pizza. How nice. 15 or 20 minutes later, Nick told Amanda that Chris was going to get interviewed by the FBI. We know how long that took, and that's why Chris had to have his pizza at the... Oh no, he didn't have his pizza that night. It was the next day, right? So he had cold pizza, I guess, when he got home, like he fed his daughters. Amanda and Nick went to the Frederick Police Department at approximately 7:30 p.m., where they waited in the car until approximately 11 p.m. So Nick and Amanda are waiting with their daughter Emily for 4 hours in a car outside the police station. It's a little bit odd. I don't know. At that point, just send him a text. Hey man, looks like you're going to be a little bit. Give me a text and we'll pick you up when you're ready. Right? I don't know. That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. Until approximately 11 p.m. when Chris came out. Chris said he wasn't allowed to go to his house since they were searching it that night and in the morning. Chris followed Amanda and Nick to their house, so he had his own car anyway. So what the heck did they have to stay outside the police station for? At the Thayer home, Chris talked about how his interview went. He said one guy interviewed him and was very aggressive and accusatory, asking, "What did you do with your wife? What did you do with your wife and children?" The interviewer then went back to the nice talk and being supportive. Chris stated he was asked the same questions multiple times in different ways. He was asked about a polygraph and said he would take one. At one point, the interviewer left and came back and told Chris to come back in the morning for the polygraph. Amanda, Nick, and Chris all went to bed. The morning of 8:15, Amanda and Nick awoke at approximately 6 a.m. They took their daughter to school, this daughter that they kept out all night at the police station. Chris was still upstairs. Chris came down at approximately 10 minutes after Amanda and Nick returned. Amanda stated Chris seemed like a lost puppy and was pacing. Chris says he was going to go to work, but his work told him no. Chris was waiting to hear from his mom about his dad's flight. Chris left about 9:30 a.m. to go get his dad from the airport. Chris and Shanann shared their Lexus. Their Lexus? Okay. They previously had an Explorer, but were currently just using the Lexus and his work truck. Chris worked at an oil company in the oil fields where he does maintenance. Shanann never mentioned anything about their financial situation. Amanda stated Shanann had lots of clothes and had her nails done about every 2 weeks. Amanda sounds a little jealous. Shanann never said a word to Amanda about Chris seeing other women. At one point, Shanann speculated about Chris maybe having an affair, but dismissed it because Chris didn't have game. Amanda stated she left a message with a detective about the fact Shanann always wore her iWatch, which was missing. Amanda stated she would preserve all the phone texts and calendar data on her phone. Okay, that's Amanda's interview. And now let's see. Hubsy. Amanda's hubs. Amanda's husband, Nick. We're going to take a look at him. So, let's see. He's employed as a media director for Prop Inc. In Greenwood Village, Colorado. Nick obtained a high school diploma. Nick's wife, Amanda Thayer, hereafter referred to as Amanda, and Shanann set up a play date for their kids in approximately April. We know this part, okay, so we'll skip over the how they met because it's the same thing here. Nick and Chris mostly communicated through texting about going for runs and sports in general or making plans for the weekend. There were not many phone calls. Nick and Amanda moved to Thornton, Colorado in June of 2018. The Thayers saw Shanann and Chris less. Shanann and the kids went to North Carolina for 6 weeks in June of 2018. Chris joined them in North Carolina during their last week there, and they all flew back together. Nick and Amanda saw Chris on the 4th of July at the fireworks show in Thornton. Nick asked Chris a question along the lines of, "What's it like to be a bachelor?" I understand that this can be a joke. What's it like to be a bachelor? But I don't know, it's just weird. Like, hey, what's it like without the wife and kids? What's it like on your own? What's it like, even if he's, what's it like to be a bachelor? Because a bachelor, almost refers to someone that's able to get married, okay? So what's it like living the single life? What's it like without the wife and kids? You miss the wife and kids. Just a weird way to say it, I think. It's kind of weird, kind of trying to catch him in something or whatever, or trying to maybe live vicariously through him. Who knows? Chris responded that it's weird being in an empty home and that he was working out all the time. I'm sure he was working out all the time. Chris said that Shanann got upset because he missed one of her phone calls. Okay, so we know that that's Chris laying that groundwork, right? That she's paranoid and jealous for absolutely no reason. All the guy's doing is working out. All he's doing is working out. That's it. He's not doing anything else. She's being completely paranoid and delusional, just like his parents say, just like she is towards his mother. It's so ridiculous. So, yeah, when your wife starts getting texts that I'm cheating, or that I'm acting differently, just know it's my wife's paranoid thinking and nothing else. That any time he's working out, he runs upstairs when she calls, and he hides that he's doing stuff without Shanann and the girls, right? Because he has to run upstairs because she'll go just bonkers if he doesn't answer that phone. She will flip the freak out on the guy. He's in an abusive relationship. She's so hard to live with. She's going to go crazy, and he actually has to hide when he's having some fun, like being at the fireworks with Amanda and Nick, because she'll flip out on him. She'll totally flip out on him because she's not having any fun in North Carolina, nothing at all, and she will just totally flip her lid. Totally. Nick had no other indication from Chris about the status of their relationship other than those examples, of course, because there was nothing to tell before this, and this is being told to prove a point. Nick thought that perhaps Shanann and Chris were married in 2012. Nick stated that he and Chris didn't see each other much and didn't talk much. However, they both signed up for a running race in September of 2018. I guess Chris didn't make that race. Chris sent Nick a text message photograph of his race shirt and bib number. Never got to use that, huh, Chris? The two exchanged a few texts regarding the upcoming race. When Chris and Shanann got back from North Carolina, Shanann and Amanda talked for about 45 minutes. Amanda told Nick that Chris and Shanann weren't doing well in their marriage. Amanda asked if Nick saw the post Shanann had made about Celeste in North Carolina, to which Nick said he had. Nick and Amanda thought maybe that issue was part of the problem. Nick was aware that Shanann didn't get along with Chris's parents. Maybe the fact that Cindy pulled out pistachio ice cream and Jamie put a bowl of pistachios on the table after that might have caused an issue because Celeste could have gone into anaphylactic shock. That might be it. I think you're onto something, Amanda. Nick received a text from Amanda while he was at work. Amanda told him that Shanann wanted them to watch the kids while Shanann and Chris went away for a weekend on 8/17. And Nick said okay. Nick and Amanda got back from their Kentucky trip on Monday, the 13th, at about 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Nick texted Chris to see if Chris wanted to go do some runs before the September run. Nick provided the following text from his cell phone. Monday at 4:07, he said, "Hey man, we just got back into town." 3 exclamation points. "When can you run?" Chris responded, "Not sure, man. I can't find Shanann or the kids. Haven't heard from them all day. Cops are here. I will keep you posted." Nick says, "Whoa, what? That is crazy, man. Is there anything I can do?" Chris says, "I don't know, man." It sounds like they're back in the 70s here. "It's very odd right now." Nick, We can head up there, bring you some food. We are here for you. What about being there for Shanann and the kids? Nick and Amanda went to Chris's house and rang the bell. Chris answered the door. In describing Chris's appearance, Nick stated, "It wasn't Chris." Nick stated that Chris appeared different, overwhelmed, like, what is going on? At that point, the cops were gone. Nick, Amanda, and Chris stood inside by the front door. Nick and Amanda were asking Chris questions about what happened, but Nick could not remember exactly what they asked. Oh boy, sounds like he's getting the memory of NK, doesn't it? Chris told Nick and Amanda the following. Okay, we know the whole story. We're not going to go into it about the emotional discussion, okay, because this is just, and you don't even have to worry because it's the same thing every time. He memorizes things really well. So Nick, Amanda, and Chris continued talking after he told them that whole scenario that he made up, his total fabrication. Continued talking at the kitchen table. Now they went to the kitchen table, so we missed that. They walked over to the kitchen table, I guess. Chris continued. Chris said the cops took Shanann's cell phone. The neighbors showed the cops the security footage of him loading up his truck and leaving that morning, but the footage showed nothing after that. The video doorbell didn't show anything. Chris saw a credit card charge for a taxi cab, but didn't know anything else about it. Chris didn't know what to think or do. So Chris, you see what he's doing right here? He's trying to use that taxi cab thing to say that Shanann got a cab and left. Okay? He thinks he's fooling people. Chris, you don't know anything about it? The first thing I would have said is, well, where is it? Where's the charge? Let's call the number and find out when that cab was, when it was called for and where they went. They'll tell us, or have the police do it if they won't give you the information. Chris wouldn't want to be friends with me. That is for darn sure. I'd be like, here, give me the number. I'll find out what it's for. That'll be one less thing you have to worry about. I'll find out right now. And if they won't give me the information, I'll just forward it over to the cops and they can call up. Nick stated that while the three of them were brainstorming about what they should be doing, Chris asked, okay, this is what, do I look out in the field to go look for someone? You think I should go do that? Go out in the field at night? What field? The oil field? The oil field that you buried the body in? What field, Chris? What field? Friends are not too sharp here. Nick stated that Chris made no comments about the fact that Shanann was gone, but all her stuff was still there. When Amanda mentioned Shanann's items that were still in the house, Chris confirmed those items as being her phone, purse, wallet, wedding ring, car seats, and the kids' medicine. You know how he rattles off things like that. He just does that, right? Just like, yeah, I was loading my toolbox, my water jug, it's just like total memorization for this guy. Okay. Based on all those items being left behind, Chris indicated that he thought Shanann just left. Okay. Smarty Pants here says, based on leaving all that stuff, I think she just left. Yeah, because I think overnight she became a mother that was no longer worried about saving Cece's life if Cece, ran into a situation where she was exposed to tree nuts. So why take the EpiPen? And Shanann, who runs her business on the phone, just decides to run away from Chris and just let her source of income go completely because she's not going to have to worry about raising her kids if she leaves him, right? And she's just going to let all those people that she's training go by the wayside, then her friends, and take away her communication if she's in a car accident with her girls. But she doesn't have her car, Chris, or the car seat, so now she's just going to, take this lift without the kids in car seats, just throw them in the back seat, and no luggage, no nothing, and just leave, Chris. That sounds, you're a real Einstein there. Absolutely. That would point to me too, that Shanann just left. Really would. I would be like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me? That she left though? Of course she just left. Okay, case closed, she just left. Let's go. Like, we can be like Cindy, like, I wasn't worried at all. I thought she was just, teaching him a lesson, punishing him, making him worry about her. Nick stated that Chris was in the process of calling and texting Shanann's friends, and Amanda said that she heard about a potential Amber Alert. Chris said he had been contacting emergency rooms before Nick and Amanda arrived. Nick stated that Chris seemed like he was just trying to process everything. He put his head down a lot, He didn't know what to do. Chris told Nick he didn't want to talk to the news media because they might pry and turn his words around. Things are very telling, Chris, when you turn your words around. Your whole confession was right there and saying what you didn't do. Chris knew how it would look and how he would be public enemy number one. Nick stated. He was worried about that. Yeah. Really, Nick? Huh. Wouldn't have guessed that. Amanda invited Chris to stay the night at the Thayers, but Chris said he wouldn't that night. But the next night he would. Amanda and Chris went home around 7 to 8 p.m., and when they got there, they texted Chris at about 9:33 p.m. They told Chris they had stopped at McDonald's and the gas station on I-25 and Highway 52 to see if anyone there saw anything. Chris responded at 9:43 p.m. stating, "Thanks, man." Amanda invited Chris to stay that night of the 13th, but he didn't want to. But he did the next night, is what Nick says. Nick doesn't mention anything that he wanted to clean up, but that's his main goal right there, is to clean up. Amanda and Chris went home around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. And when they got home, they texted Chris at 9:33 p.m. and they told Chris they had stopped at McDonald's and the gas station at I-25 and Highway 52 to see if anyone there saw anything. Chris responded at 9:43 p.m. saying, "Thanks, man." Nick and Amanda took their daughter to school. On Tuesday morning, Nick texted Chris to see if he was going to work. Chris said he didn't get much sleep and he was going to stay home. Nick and Amanda took their daughter to school. Nick texted Chris at 8:30 a.m. the next day to ask if he had heard anything from the police, and Chris responded, "Nothing yet." The two texted back and forth briefly. Nick and Amanda drove to Chris's house, and on the way there, the news media started contacting them. When they arrived at Chris's house, they found Chris to be tired, not himself, and overwhelmed. Wouldn't they expect to find Chris tired, distraught, heartbroken, sobbing? The three sat at the kitchen table. They talked a lot about the possibility of Nick and Amanda talking to the media and the media talking to Chris. During the afternoon on Tuesday, Nick overheard a telephone call between Chris and either his mother or Shanann's mother, and Chris made a comment along the lines of, "The longer this goes on, the more I worry that they might be hurt or in danger." Chris stated that he had received a text from a realtor on Monday night, and Chris told Nick and Amanda that he and Shanann had talked about putting the house up on the market. The house was too big and too much of a financial burden, and they wanted to downgrade. Chris said he wasn't sure if that is what made Shanann mad at him, although Chris hadn't talked about Shanann being mad before that point. Chris was wondering if that's what started all this. Chris made no mention about having any girlfriends. Nick and Amanda left Chris's house just before 4 p.m. in order to pick up their daughter from school, and they offered to have Chris stay the night at their house. Chris agreed to it, and Chris said he would be over in a little bit. And when Nick and Amanda arrived at their home, Nick called Chris, and Chris said he was coming over. Chris called Nick about 10 minutes later and said Fox News was still in his front yard, and Chris was concerned about how it would look if he was seen leaving his house with a bag of clothes. Bag of clothes? Why would you have to take your clothes out in a bag? Could you get a little overnight bag? Could you get a suitcase, a small travel suitcase? You sound like you're carrying a garbage bag of clothes out of the house. Strange. At around 6:20 p.m., Nick texted Chris, and Chris said he was just leaving his house. Approximately 20 minutes later, Chris called. He told Nick that Frederick Police Department wanted him to come by to talk to an FBI agent, and Nick responded via text stating that he and Amanda would go there and offer support. Chris responded, "Thanks, man." Nick and Amanda went to the Frederick's Police Department. Chris came out around 11 p.m., and Chris gave a brief summary of the interview, but they all decided to talk more once they got home. At the house, Chris said the interview was intense. He stated that it was like being interviewed by 3 people, all by one person. He stated that they had his phone, and they asked him all about stuff in his phone, and they asked him about his weight loss, and who is she? Oh boy. They would disappear for 15 minutes and would start over when they came back. Chris, that's called an interrogation. You're their main suspect. He was getting the same questions in a different form. He was grilled and asked, "So why did you do it?" At the end of the interview, the agent told him he did a good job. Did a good job, Chris. You did a good job. You made us proud. He thinks he did a great job. Nick told Chris he had been texting with a private investigator friend, and Nick gave Chris some lawyer contact information upon the advice of the private investigator. Chris was appreciative and went to bed. Chris said he was planning on going to work until his dad arrived. On Wednesday, 8:15, Chris told Nick that his work told him not to come in. "Listen, buddy, don't bother coming in. Today or ever again." Chris left the house at 9:30 a.m. to get his dad from the airport, and Nick and Amanda went to work. Nick stated that he found it strange that Chris didn't know if Shanann had her Apple Watch since it wasn't in the charger. Nick knew that Shanann always wore her Apple Watch and always had her phone with her. Chris never made other comments over time about whether Shanann slept with her Apple Watch. Like, that would be a normal thing. Like, "How you doing, Nick?" "Good." Like, "Good. Shanann sleep with her Apple Watch?" "Yeah, she does. She always sleeps with the Apple Watch. It nudges into my back at night. Yeah, it's really bad." Nick stated that he would preserve all his call and text data. Okay, Nicholas. So we're done with Nicholas. And now we may have to have 2 parts on this because this is going to be very long. And if you see what I have to go through here, you'll see how long it's going to be. So I believe this is going to be 2 parts. We're going to start the first part of his interview with Agent Coder, and we're going to start with Chris's. Remember when they sat him down to write this? "We just got a letter." Who knows what that's from? Okay, I don't know why these crazy things pop in my head. Chris's little accounting that he wrote out when Agent Coder asked him to write this out. We're going to read Chris's own words right here. If you want to follow along in your readers, and when you hear the... I'm sorry, I'm going a little bit nuts today. But you remember those books on tape, records on tapes? And when you hear this sound, turn the page. Okay, so if you want to follow along, this is Discovery page 1152, boys and girls. Okay, so says, "Thank you for your willingness to help in this investigation. Starting from the beginning, please include every detail you can remember and tell us what happened." And Chris put his name, Chris Watts. Okay, 1:48 a.m. Doorbell detected visitor. Neighbor's camera that faces driveway didn't pick up anyone walking up to the house. 2:00 a.m. Shanann gets into bed with me. 4 a.m. My alarm goes off for work, and I proceed to get ready for work. Good job, Chris. 4:15 a.m. I slide into bed and begin having a conversation with Shanann. He doesn't even say that, like, he wakes her up or, he just starts having a conversation. She's probably in a deep sleep, and he doesn't even say that he feels bad. He didn't even say here that she asked him to wake her up, right? 4:15 a.m. I slide into bed and begin having a conversation with Shanann. The conversation involves putting the house up for sale. Shanann had contacted our realtor a week prior via email about this as well. The conversation also involved moving along with the separation. This was an emotional topic due to the fact we have 2 beautiful daughters and another baby on the way. We spoke about the fact that we didn't feel the connection that we used to. Okay? You spoke about that, but you didn't even speak about this. We spoke about the notion that the love that we had at the beginning was no longer there. We spoke about just staying together for the kids, but realizing that normally doesn't work. It was a very emotional conversation with crying on both parts. When I get off the bed to go downstairs, she told me she was going to a friend's house and taking the kids there, but also that she would be back. This is completely, make sure you say it was a very emotional conversation and you were both crying. Remember, he tells Agent Coder he's bawling, but he couldn't summon not even one tear for his children. Not even one that he murdered. Not even one. 5 a.m. downstairs, and I made a protein shake. I packed my lunchbox, and I filled my water jug. 5:15 a.m. I backed my truck in to load up my book bag, my lunchbox, my water jug, my container with my O-ring kit, and loaded up various open-ended wrenches for my personal toolbox. Sounds like there used to be I think it was the Sesame Street thing. The kid goes out with a ring on his finger and it's like a container of milk, a stick of butter, and he's just got this just down pat. So it's so crazy. 5:30 a.m. Departed for work. 7:40 a.m. Texted Shanann and asked if she could tell me where she was taking the kids. 12 p.m. Texted Shanann to call me. 12:10 p.m. Doorbell visitor Nicole. This spoils his plan because he would have probably been on his way home to do a little cleanup. Was at my door. 12:20 p.m. Called Nicole to see what was going on, and she told me that she couldn't get a hold of Shanann either, and that her shoes were next to the door, and her car was in the garage. 12:40. I'm sure this is after Chris changed his pants. A few more efforts by Nicole to reach her. 1 p.m. I'm now on my way home to check on my family. 2 p.m. I arrive home, open the garage door, and get inside the house. Shanann, Bella, and Cece are not in the house. That's right, Chris, because you killed them and buried them out in the oil field that you just came from. Shanann's wedding ring is on her nightstand. Her phone is on the couch. Her purse is still here. The medication for the kids is still here. The car with the car seats is still here. And there's no sign of them anywhere because this was probably of his list that this is what you've got to go clean up when you get home. Okay, you're going to go home for lunch, check on your wife, and these are the things. Now, you've got your little string around your finger like the Sesame Street thing, and these are the things you're going to go clean up. So those are the things that are all still there. But he forgot to mention the sheets and the garbage. 3 p.m., Frederick police officer and detectives are asking Nicole and I questions about where she could have gone or who she could be with. At 4 p.m., the police check neighbors' security footage and question them as well. 5 p.m., officer, detective, and sergeant combine to search the house and ask some more questions. 6 p.m., begin calling around to anyone I know that could know something, or maybe seen Shanann, calling local hospitals and hotels as well. 7:30 p.m., friends Nick and Amanda come by to show support. Well, that's a lie. They came by much earlier than that. They were leaving, they said, by 7 or 8 p.m. 8 p.m., friend Lauren Arnold comes by to show support. 9 p.m., friends Dave, Colin, and Jeremy Lindstrom come by to show support. 10, I lay in my bed and proceed to take calls from friends and family for the rest of the night. So I guess he forgot about all that cleaning that he had to do, right? Because he was just laying in bed. He forgot that he told Amanda he had to clean up. Okay, so we've got Chris's version there in his own writing. And this is a preamble for a consensual recording at the police station with Chris Watts. Time is 7 p.m. on the 14th. This is right after Nick, this is right after Nick and Amanda left his house, and he was going there, but then he was told to go down to the police station to talk to the FBI. So this is where we're going to pick this up. And this is Discovery page 1154 if you want to follow along. This is the, okay, where are we? Oh man, did you see that? Have to get More trash can in the front yard. Oh, hell. This is exactly what it says here. Oh, just like all the trash cans blew. You know what this is? Because they say this is unintelligible. This is when he was saying that they had to get over there, collect evidence, and then Chris was saying that there was some heavy winds and they were blowing trash cans all over. Do you guys remember that from the recording if you were listening to it? But that's what he's talking about. And so we'll just skip that. Let's see, until they get down to their brass tacks here. Coder says, everyone who comes in here is like, ooh, so Dave and I go back and he called me today and kind of let them know what's going on. Hey man, if you want, I can. I don't mind coming around to help you. So I work missing children's cases and I'm very sorry for what you're going through, right? I'm a father too. I'm really, really sorry for what you're going through. Chris says, thank you. But I'm here to help, and I think that one of the reasons I wanted to bring you in quickly is because when your memory's fresh with everything that happened, we're going to ask you a million questions. And unfortunately, well, we're probably going to have to talk to you like 10 times, and here's why. So I appreciate your willingness to help, of course. So, we're going to say like, hey, do you remember what you had for breakfast on Thursday? And you're going to say, yeah, Thursday is, like Daddy Waffle Day. And Chris says, actually, I actually eat the same thing just about every day. Not going to be a problem for him to wonder what he had for Christmas. It's not going to be a problem for him to remember what he had for breakfast. He has the same thing every day. Yeah, okay. Well, I know that's weird. And you're going to be, it's an app that I have. Now here's Chris giving the Sergeant Coder didn't, Special Agent Coder didn't say it was weird, okay? But Chris is now just going to keep giving this information because he's going to keep talking because he's trying to divert things, and this is what happens, like somebody else we know. Yeah, it's an app that I have. Yeah? On my phone. So, okay. You're pretty fit. It's like a workout exercise. It's, I try to eat about 5 times a day. Yeah, so anyway, you're going to say that's dumb when they ask me that you're going to say eggs. And then we're going to say, did you buy them at King Soopers? And we're going to say, oh, that's weird because we saw a car wreck in King Soopers. That's weird, Like, things like that just don't seem to add up. So with that in mind, everyone we're talking to, we're asking if they fill this out for us. And that's what I just read to you. That's when he sat him alone and had him fill out what I just read to you in Chris's own words, okay? So this says, thank you for your willingness to help. Start from the beginning. Please include everything that you can remember and tell us what happened. Okay, Chris says. Okay, so this way you write it all down. We have it forever. We can say, hey, what do you think they would go? And you're going to be like, well, I don't know. And we'll say, oh, okay, well, wait, it's possible that we know something here that we can look at later, and we'll find it to be very, very helpful. Okay, so do you mind writing this down now for us? And Chris says, yeah. And then I'll give you as much time as you need. Okay. In fact, I'm going to go give these to a few other people while we're doing this, if that's all right. Okay, but you'll be all right here alone. Oh yeah, just like start from like when she got home, that, okay? Yeah, times and everything? Yeah, just yes, everything. Yeah, you can remember. Gotcha. Yeah, then I'm gonna let you know, yeah, okay, and then I'm gonna go let you do this, and is that all right? Yeah, 'cause, can I put my name up here? Yeah, please. Feel like I'm in high school again. Name, date, yeah. I'm going to make sure that we get these to as many people as possible as quickly as we can. Okay. So I'm just going to leave you right here if that's all right. Yeah. I'll check back with you in a few minutes. In a couple of minutes. Okay. Now just because I gave you, 3-4 pages, if it's not there, it's not there. If you need more paper, we'll get it. Right. So don't worry about it. All right. Oh boy, they locked me in. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay, when you're done, do you have your cell phone on you? Yes. Okay, when you're done, because I'm going to be right here next door giving these to whoever else comes in, do you have Dave's number? Yeah, yes. The one yeah. You just give him a call when you're done, okay? All right? All right. Okay, thanks. Oh, you done? Oh, you're done? Yeah. Okay, awesome. That was fast. Chris got that written all out. Cool. So what we're going to do, if it's all right, you and I are going to go over this and see if there's anything that we can glean about where we go looking for your kids. All right. Is that all right? Yeah. This is the part where you see on the interview when Agent Coder comes in with the paper and he says, I'm going to sit next to you, let's go over this. And then he gets up and moves like 3 times. But he says, I'm going to sit next to you, okay? We can look at it together. So I want you to do that. What I want you to do is, you know, from your neighborhood, somebody saw something, somebody knows where these kids are. And I keep saying kids, I'm sorry, the kids and your wife. It's okay. I should say I work quite a bit. And so tonight, if I make one of those mistakes when I say kids instead of your wife, I apologize. That's fine. We work it a lot, and so I apologize if something comes out wrong. Anyway, so I know you're going through a lot, and I'm not going to try to keep you here all night. Can we just go through this? Chris says, yeah. So, okay, let's see. 148, to worry about detective visitor. What does that mean? Oh, so the doorbell has a camera on it. When you get to a certain proximity and when you ring it, it detects a visitor. Okay, people are already tracking us here. Here's when he gets up and down and whatever. So in fact, you know what? Let's do this. I work a lot of stuff like this and bank robberies. And when I talk to, a witness at a bank robbery, sometimes I find it's best for them just to say, look, tell me what happened. Get it all out. Once we get it all out, then we'll go over it, okay? So just get it out as far as this. Tell me exactly what you remember. I'll take notes about it. We can go from there. All right. So let's see. 148. Now we're switching chairs and now we know all that. Okay. Now let's skip that. All right. So 148, the doorbell detects a visitor. This is Chris talking. So when we were over at the neighbor's house that next day, we were looking at the camera as well, and it didn't show anybody walking up to the driveway, which was kind of weird. The only reason I put that out there is because it showed Nicole dropping her off, but nobody actually walking up to the house. It was kind of weird, but she was in the house. Okay, so, and what time are we talking? It's still 1:48. Okay, so, okay, you can go on. 2:00 a.m. Shanann gets into bed with me. 4 a.m. that's when my alarm goes off for work, and obviously I just get dressed, brush my teeth, everything I do upstairs. Okay. 4:15, that's when I get back, slide into bed with her, slide into bed next to her, and started having a conversation with her about having putting the house up for sale and talking about proceeding with the separation. Okay. And obviously it gets pretty emotional, like we're talking about, how like we felt this connection where we just fell out of love and trying to stay together, maybe just for the kids' sake, but we're realizing that doing like our home, it's not, and most of the time that's not going to work. Yeah. And it gets pretty emotional because we have 2 beautiful kids and we have one on the way. So it's just a matter of it's very emotional because he's just going to keep saying the same thing over and over. We were both crying, and at the end we just said, she said she was going to go take the kids to a friend's house for the day, and she would be back. Okay, I was like, fine, and that's when I went downstairs to make my protein shake, and that was 5:00 a.m. That's when I did that. Okay. I packed my lunchbox, I had my oatmeal, I had my chicken, filled up my water jug, 5:15, went outside, back of my truck. I had loaded up, had my book bag, my lunchbox, my computer, my water jug, my big clear container. I put big clear containers in my truck, so it's easy to pull out and pull in, just depending on what I'm going to use. About moving, I was just going to do some splitting box rubbers that day, so I got some various open-ended wrenches from my toolbox. I know those work better than the ones they would give me. Special wrenches, huh, Chris? Maybe to open a hatch. 5:30, I left. I went to work, okay. Hadn't heard from Shanann for for about 2 hours there. So at 7:40, I texted her and I asked her if she could tell me where the kids were, if she took them anywhere. Okay, nothing. Okay, let's see. At 12 o'clock, I texted her again, nothing. And then at about 12:10, that's when my doorbell visitor, but not visitor, another one came. It popped up on my phone and said it was Nicole and was driving. I put her on the phone to see if she was trying to get in or whatnot. And I hear like she's on the phone trying to, I could hear going through my phone saying, I got to Shanann's. That's when I called her. Okay. I called her at 12:20, see what's going on. She told me Shanann hadn't responded to any of her calls all day or any of her friends' calls all day. Okay. And that's very strange. Just because, I mean, if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. You know, like, yeah, she gets busy with the kids, whatever. Okay. But she doesn't get back to her people, like the people like she works with, like direct sales. Okay. So if she doesn't get back with them, that's strange. Is she the type to answer the phone? For them, yes. Oh, like all the time. Okay. Yeah, for me, it's just like, hey, you can wait, we'll see you later. Okay. And so about 12:40, a few more efforts from Nicole to reach her while she's there, like outside the house. And at 1 o'clock, that's when I left, and I was like, all right, I'm on my way down there. 2 o'clock when I got home, because they couldn't get in because the front door had a top latch to keep the kids in. Who's they? Nicole and the police officer that was there. Okay. Oh, all right. And, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so they couldn't get in because the top latch of the car, I mean, he's really messing up, right? I mean, top latch on the front door was hinged and the keypad on the outside doesn't work to get in the garage, and so they had to wait till I got there and I can get the remote opened. Okay. So that's when I got home. I opened the garage door and we went inside the house and looked everywhere. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, nowhere to be found. Shanann's wedding ring on her nightstand, her phone still on the couch, her purse is still there, medicine for the kids, here it goes through his little spiel, is still there, the car and the car seat's still there, and there's no sign of them anywhere. Okay. 3 o'clock, right up to the police officer, Detective Bumhauer, right? Yes, Okay. Bumhauer, yes, okay. Bumhummer. I butcher his name every time. That's a poor choice of words, Chris. Asking Nicole and I questions about where she could have gone or who she could be with. At 4 o'clock, the police officer that was there, he was checking the neighbor's security footage. At 5 o'clock p.m., the same police officer, detective, and then a sergeant. Another officer, they showed up and they searched the house again. About 6 o'clock, they'd been calling around to anyone that could, that may know something. Called hospitals and hotels. 7:30 is my friend Nick Amon. He showed up to show support, and from then, our just friends are showing up. Okay, now why are we? So Nick, that's Nick Thayer. I think maybe he said Nick and Amanda, and it came out Nick. That's what I'm saying. You've got to listen to the video. So it's Lauren, Dave, Jeremy at 10 o'clock. It's pretty much when I laid down, but I didn't go to bed until it was like 2 a.m. just because I was fielding texts and calls all night long. No, you were. Well, I'm sure you were talking to your little girl friend all night long. Okay, I was just hoping that, I left all the lights on in the house. I was just hoping that I get a knock on the door. But, yeah, she's back. Yeah, but nothing happened. And then Coder asks, what do you think happened? And Chris says, at first I really thought maybe She was just at somebody's house? Coder says, yeah. Chris says, just decompressing. Poor choice of words again. And then Coder says, just blowing off steam? Yeah. But after today, like, with the onslaught of all the cars, I mean, all the police cars, all the news, all the canine units, it's making me lean the other direction. About someone took her. Okay. But that is, if someone took her, it would have to have been someone she knew, because there's no sign of anything like being disturbed or broken. But, like, the way I'm thinking now, at first I thought, for real, she was just decompressing somewhere. I thought she was safe. Even though everything in the house was left there, but now it's just, after today with the news crews and everything, it feels more the other direction. And it's freaking me out. Coder must be like, yeah, you look like you're freaked out. You look like you're nervous that, you did something, but you don't look like you're freaking out over your wife and kids being gone. Because I have no idea where they are. Okay, if you could think of anything we could do to find them, what would it be? Oh, I mean, everything that I've exhausted so far. It's like people and that have car seats because she left the car seats and she would never just, I mean, Bella could sit in a regular booster. That would be because she's about that time. Celeste isn't quite there yet. All the people that I know that have car seats, I mean, they've contacted me. Unless there's definitely a chance somebody I don't know of being a guy or a girl. I don't know. She has plenty of friends through, like, direct sales that I never met. They could have a kid that she, like, come up and they could say, like, let's go. Just just back open the back, put them in, let's go. But I wouldn't have a name. I wouldn't know who they are. Just open the back up, open the back and put them in. See what I mean? He gives clues all the time of what he does because he can't think for himself. He can't go off script, so he keeps going back, like, how would they leave? And he's thinking, like, of how they really left. And so, like, back up, open the back, and put them in. Coder says, okay. And then he says, and this is like, that's what's driving me nuts. Like, when I told the news crew, was like, she's out there, like, please come home. Like, if someone has her, or, like, not just have her, but if she's at somebody's house and she's just decompressing, it's time to come back with, this is real. Do you have any inkling of if it's good or bad? Yesterday, I would have thought that she was safe, and it was good. That she come home. Today, it's more on the other side. I don't think that she would let it get this far if she was just decompressing somewhere. I mean, she's, like, not talking to anybody, as far as of people that have reached out to her. I haven't talked to in, like, a year. They are friends with her. Like, one of her best friends, Judy, lives in Florida, and she works in a police department down in Miami. And she called me today, like, one of her friends, like, would confide in. Oh, okay. So, and she hasn't heard? Nothing. Anything? Nothing. And nobody's heard anything? Oh, like her parents. I mean, she doesn't like talking to her mom, but still, she would. Her mom calls her enough that she would at least answer once. Then Coder says, yeah, and if she, I mean, I'm married. I know how it is. If she's hacked off at her husband, would she call her mom? And he says, she would call one of her friends that have contacted me. Okay. But then the fact that none of them know anything is very strange, because one of them would have said something by now, to seeing what this has escalated to. And Coder says, is it possible that her close-knit group of friends isn't close with you and that there's somebody who knows where she is right now? I don't think so, because, I mean, Nicole she's close with Nicole, and there's no way Nicole's acting right now as far as how emotional she'd get. Like, no way, she knows. What does that mean? Well, there's no way, like she wouldn't know, like, where she is if she knew. Oh, so you're saying if Nicole knew. Yeah, Nicole knew, like, the way she's acting right now, she's as freaked out as I am. No, Chris. If you think you're as freaked out as Nicole is, you are truly more delusional than anybody could ever believe. And I think that's why Coder's asking you, like, Coder's saying, here you're giving me again. You know where she is. You know where the kids are. That's why you're not freaked out. And you just said it yourself right here, that if Nicole knew, she wouldn't be freaked out like the way you're acting, Chris. Absolutely. This guy is, I don't know, they must have just, I don't even, he's just so, I don't even know what to say about him. He's just, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And that the one thing that he does do is he kills them. He kills 4 people. He's messed up everything before and after. If only he could have messed that up as he's messed everything else up. So there is no way, like, she would know where she is if she knew. Do you know Nicole that well? Decent. She's been over our house. He's already calling it my, and then changes it to our house. A good amount of times. Oh, okay. Yeah. And so you obviously spoke with Nicole? Oh, yeah. And don't have any weird feelings from her? No, she was there at the house, okay? She was the one that was ringing the doorbell trying to see what was going on. Okay. Do you have a good sense that the police here or the FBI, do you have a sense that we have a good enough list of people to call and check with? I think so, because I've gone through my entire phone. I know Nicole's gone through her entire phone. Amanda, anybody that lives there, anybody that knows Shanann, they pretty much have the same contact list. Okay. So if somebody that's not on my phone, so if there's somebody that's not on my phone, it's on theirs. Okay. Has somebody, I think the police have Nicole's, I'm sorry, your wife's phone, right? Yes. And I don't want to pronounce her name wrong. Shanann? Shanann? Okay. So the police have Shanann's phone. Yeah. Do they have your phones? Have they looked at your phones? I don't think so. Okay. Can I run that out and have a look real quick? Yeah. Okay, is there a password that I'm going to run into? Yeah. 3387. 3307? 3387. 3387. Is there any other phones we can check? Okay, when you look at this, what's the best thing that they can do to, to say, look for these contacts, look for this Instagram, look for the Snapchat, So, like, the only thing on here that I would say is going to be weird because our contact list is the same. Okay, so, you guys have a shared contact? Yeah, like through Google? Yeah, like it's like all the, what drove me nuts is that when I got, it all got into the cloud, it multiplied or duplicated. Oh, I hate that, yeah. Yeah, so it's the same person over and over again. 10 people over, okay. So we have the same contact list. Okay, so I'm going to run this out. Chris says, okay. So 33087. 3387. And I really want them to just not physically rip the phone apart, but really dive in. Okay. And you're okay with that? Yeah. Okay, I'm in it. I'm just going to hand this off to somebody. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, password 3387. Okay, get that, 3387. Right. Are there any other phones at home we can look at? That's the only one that I know of. That's hers and mine. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Computers? She had a laptop, but she barely uses it. Okay. Where's the laptop? In the office. At home? Yep. Okay, I think that, I'm sorry, I'm just catching up here. That always happens when the police are the first to get the call. Then when it's serious like this with missing kids, then a day or two later we come in. So I'm sorry, I'm just playing catch up. It's always good to repeat it though. So laptop at home, does it have a password? I don't think so. It might, but that's the one she uses. Okay. That you didn't, just stays in her office. Do you have any idea? I have an idea what the password might be. Okay. It's like 4284915, capital S, lowercase w. That's their main password. And I think it's supposed to be her main password. 4284915, capital S, and lowercase w? Yeah. And we'll probably just have to bring that in for us. Is that okay? Okay. So they don't have it now. The cops don't have it now. So laptops. Any others, like a Fitbit? Is there any tablets? There's an iPad, but I haven't found it yet. Does she have it? I haven't found it yet. If she has it, I haven't seen it in the house. Okay, so possible she has it? Possibly. Okay. When did you buy that? Oh, that was a long time ago, and it's, and then Coder says, oh, okay, so it's a full-on iPad, like, yeah. And you could use it to, like, what? Go on, and he answers, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, could you use it to navigate to an address? You could text from it, Chris says. Okay, so then it's possible that she has it somewhere. And if she's somewhere hurt or somewhere that we can't find her, she can't, in other words, we could somehow track that. Does it have GPS? It has to be connected to Wi-Fi for it to actually... Oh, so it's not like a phone then, it's a... No. Okay. She has a watch, but I haven't found that either. She has an Apple Watch. Oh, an Apple Watch, okay. Do you know where that is? I've not found it. Okay. It's not, Chris says it's not on the charger. And then Coder says they're going through all of that. So then he asks for the password on her phone, and it happens to be the due date of their baby. And so now he's asking, he says the other cops in the other room know she's due in January. She's 4 or 5 months pregnant. So then Chris says she was 14, 15 weeks. And Coder says, okay, right. Did you guys know the sex of the baby? And he says, we weren't going to tell anybody yet. But you do know it. Okay. But she knows it? Yeah. Okay, so let's finish this and we'll get into more of this. Okay. So how else can we track her? Does she have another phone that you know of? That's the only phone I've ever seen her use. Okay, what's the phone number? He gives the phone number. Strap on your CSI hat. And you can imagine the FBI has some pretty cool tricks and toys and everything, right? Is there anything you can think of that we should be doing that we're not? Chris says, honestly, everything that I saw today was like, it took me on a whirlwind. I didn't think all this was going to happen. I know you didn't, Chris. So that everything that happened today, I thought you guys were like spot on. And Special Agent Coder, you should take this as a real compliment that this guy thinks you're spot on, because he's a hard act to follow. This guy, Chris, he's spot on everything himself. So if he's telling you that, it's a great compliment. Okay, is there anything that a friend has said? Has the FBI done this? Well, probably didn't know the FBI was involved until, no, an hour ago? Yeah. Okay, is there any good ideas that your friends have been saying that they're going to try? They've got to do this. A lot of people have asked about Amber Alert, but I'm not sure, like, why that, because I'm not sure, like, Amber Alerts have to deal with, like, all right, if you know someone has taken a kid, but since, right, the last person who saw her was with the mom. Yeah. Everybody's gone. Yeah. That's probably, the Amber Alert's not really, used in that respect. Well, they did a press statement, so Amber Alerts are a little bit different. One thing that helps Amber Alerts is cars, when you're driving down the freeway and you say missing person, look for this car. What car are we looking for? Yeah, that's the only car that she has is left in the garage. The Lexus? And that's what you drove here tonight, right? Yep. Okay, do you have any other car that you drive? Just my work truck. Okay. Do you have any other cars that you drive? Just my work truck. Okay. Lexus. Does the Lexus is here? Okay. How could she have left the house? The only way she could have left the house is if somebody picked her up. But if it happened, then from the back, because there's the camera in the front where the neighbor, that way it faces the driveway, it would have picked that up. Only thing it picked up was me leaving at 5:26. Okay. How do you know? Is it your family? It's a neighbor's camera. Oh, did they tell you? Yeah. We were all over there watching it. Okay. The officer. Okay, all right. It just showed me loading up my truck. Oh, okay. Is it on all the time? His camera? It's on all the time, yeah. Okay. And all it saw was you leaving? Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. I'm surprised Chris didn't tell him. Yeah, it didn't see me loading up the bodies because I was doing it on the opposite side of the car because I've already tested out my neighbor's camera. I told him that somebody was stealing stuff out of my truck so that I could see exactly what it picked up so I could know, where I had to pull my truck and which way I had to carry the bodies out. Surprised Chris didn't volunteer that. That didn't show her coming home? It didn't show her walking in, no. Okay. But she was in the house when I got, yeah, obviously. So I that was just like, I'm just trying to think. So the camera, is it possible that it didn't catch everything like a motion detector? It, from what I saw, I think, like, it showed me other, like, examples, but it was picking up, like, minuscule things. Oh. In there, like, it didn't take too much to, like, just get it to start recording. Okay. So it's probably a motion detector then. Yeah. If they're start ones, yeah. Okay, all right. So then there's his camera and your security system and my doorbell camera right there and your doorbell camera. And the only thing that was strange about mine that morning was that when I left, it said the garage door too remained open. When you left, when you parked in the garage when you left, pulled out. And it said, I thought it shut. Okay. And it said my garage door too open. When I went back and I looked at all the history, and Nicole said it was shut when she got there. Okay. But it's cause on my notification it said something like left open, but it won't say when it's shut. Okay, so you got a notification it was open? Mm-hmm. After what you thought you shut it? Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, because I looked back, I saw it shutting. Okay, kids, do they have any security little watches? You know, some of them have that call in, but nothing like that. Nothing like that yet. No iPads? How old are they? 4 and 3. Oh, they're pretty young. Okay, anything else you could think of? Chris says, so like we've exhausted like every option, every friend that we know. Okay. That could have helped her. Okay. So Coder says, okay, we talked about her decompressing a few times. Where would she do that? Oh, she'd have to go to a friend's house to do that. She wouldn't just go anywhere. Not with the kids. A hotel? I've checked, and if she had any cash on her, I'm not sure like how much she would have had on her. Like she doesn't really carry much cash. Okay. And the cash she had in her wallet was from Nicole the previous day? From who? From Nicole. Okay. She told me that there was cash that she gave her. Okay. So I went and I found her purse. For what? It was, I'm not sure. She didn't tell me. Okay. But that was all the cash she had in her wallet? And it's still at the house, you said? Yeah. Okay. So is her license in the wallet? Yeah. So she's got no cash that you know of, no license, no phone. Anything about the clothes in the closet, the hamper, the drawers that make you think she packed some boots, she's going to the mountains? Like she has so many clothes in that closet, like it would be hard for me to really see if she took a little amount. Okay. If she took a big amount, it'd be pretty obvious. But, like a little amount, you never know. Okay, all right. I bet you NK told him that. She has like this whole wall, and then the bottom, and then the other side. Because she's probably saying, all the clothing she has. Okay, all right. She has so he says, okay, if you took this room and it's about the size of, Chris is going on and on about the closet now, okay, so he just can't stop. And then Coder says, a woman with a lot of clothing, you don't say. No. Okay, shoes, anything about shoes that you think she's, that a whole shoe, and he goes, there's a whole shoe closet, so there's nothing obvious that screams at you. No. That she's preparing for this type of activity. Okay, then he goes, and the girls' clothes too. And the kids' clothes too. There wasn't enough that I would see anything missing. Okay, so I'm all right. So I know it's hard to talk about. You mentioned that there was a hard conversation the two of you had about separation. Chris, just your marriage and separation. Now that you've had a little bit of time looking back on that conversation, can you connect the dots between both of you being upset and crying, and here we are now, and she and the kids gone? What do you think about? I think about like that I caused this. Like, did I make her feel like she needed to leave? And like, did she feel like that things she said that she was saying, did she really feel the same? Did she really feel like, right? Did this connection, did she really feel all of that? Or is she just saying it like maybe she was just falling out of love? Was that really registering her at the point? Or did it just register that after I leave for work? And then she was just like, I'm just going to leave. Okay. It's like, she laid back down. She was there when I left. Okay. But like, she sat there and maybe about it, like, do I really need to stay here right now? Okay. He doesn't love me. Maybe I should just go. He's really, just let him keep talking, Coder. Can you really get into a conversation with me? Like, I want to know You obviously had a really deep conversation with her. She's your wife, but it's going to be easy. But it's going to be easy for me to listen to what was said and maybe think that there are some clues about. I mean, she had just laid down and cried a little bit longer and something happened to her, or maybe she did get frustrated and she left. So let's see if we can recreate that conversation. So tell me what happened. So I crawled back in bed. So, sorry, let's start from she gets home late at night. Okay, let's start from that point. Okay, Chris says. She got home at about 2 a.m. Okay. And were you already home? I was passed out. Okay. Yeah. So I felt her get in the bed. That was about it. At about 4 a.m., that's when my alarm went off and for me to go to work. Okay. That's when I got ready and everything. And okay. So she gets in at 2, alarm goes off at 4, okay? And you're sleeping the whole time. Oh yeah. Okay. So the conversation hasn't started. No. Okay. No. So when my alarm goes off, that's when I try and get ready for work. I crawl back in bed and we have that conversation. So you wake her up at 4? From at 4, then what until you start the conversation? I get dressed, I get my clothes on, I brush my teeth, I get a drink, all that kind of stuff. Okay, you take a shower? No. Okay. A shower the night before thing. Okay. What do you do for a living? I work in the oil and gas. Okay, so then it doesn't matter if you go to work without a shower. Okay. Doesn't really matter. All right. It's going to be bad anyway. Yeah. So then you wake up, you get ready. Sorry I interrupted you. You're fine. So then what time are you talking that you're getting ready to talk with her? About 4:15 or so, Chris says. Okay. And so she was asleep from the time she got in from 2 to 4. Okay. 4:15, you wake up at 4. 4:15, you're ready. Okay. And at 4:15, you start talking. Why did you talk to her at 4:15 in the morning? I felt like I needed to talk to her face to face. Okay. Because I wanted to say something much. I'm like when she was in Arizona, I didn't want to do it through text and I wouldn't do it through a call. Okay. I got back in bed, I needed to talk to her about it because she told me when she was going to fly back that she wanted to get up so she could take a shower. She wanted to get the airport off of her. What do you mean when she got back? When she flew back in from Phoenix? Yeah. Okay. She told you let's have a talk? No. She wanted to get up with me so that we could, so that she could take a shower and get the airport off of her because she was, oh, okay. Her flight was delayed. Oh, okay. Her flight was supposed to get in at 11, but okay. It didn't leave until 11. Okay. And so, did she call you? Did she text you? I think there was a call. Okay. On that one? All right. Then, so at 4:15, what happens? That was when I crawled back into bed. I woke her up. Okay. And then, obviously, I talked to her about how I was feeling, about how I felt, what's been going on with us for the last, what she's seen in, the last 6 weeks, because she was in North Carolina, and I was down there just last week, but just from being apart, just figuring out who people are. It's the best, honestly, the best way people really find out who they are is to spend time apart. I agree. And she kind of just, need to see yourself and all, and the last week, that's when I went back to North Carolina, and I was there for, last week there. And, okay. And when we were together, we could feel it wasn't there, that spark. I know that's kind of cliche, but that spark. Yeah, okay, Chris. Call about your present, call onto, get your presentation in your mind. Sure. It wasn't there anymore. And on that night, I told her that morning, early that morning, I told her like this disconnection, it's there. It's not going away. Like the connection we had in the beginning, it's not there anymore, because like I don't feel like the love we had was there anymore. Okay. And it was just like, I don't feel like, I mean, if we want to stay together for the kids, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Like bring up, and that's what you told her? Yeah. Okay. Like having another baby, bring this into a relationship, do you think this is going to work? With us being together or separation, I think it's going to be the best possible route for us. And that's when like all the crying and everything proceeded, and it was just like really hard just to talk about that. But I needed to do it face to face. Okay. And I needed to see her face, like when I couldn't text. Yeah. Phone, whatever. I just needed to see her face and be able to see her and know that she was going to be at least reciprocating back to me. Oh, what did she say? She said that she wanted to kind of work on it. But if that's the way I was feeling, that she respects that. Okay. And she said that most of the time when you have kids and you have a relationship where people like they don't love each other, where like they fall out of love, disconnection, that having kids, even bringing a new baby into the equation, doesn't always work as keeping like, you know, the couple happy and the kids happy. It's almost better if, right? If it was different, different sides. It says, yeah, you don't want to spend your whole marriage like faking for the kids. Yeah, and that's the one other thing. Okay, that is, and I hear that. That's totally accurate. Okay. I mean, you don't want to be people parading around with like a mask on when your kids are around, and then the kids get to see you go your separate ways. Okay. Like that's what I don't want. Okay. And that's why we were talking about the separation that night. Okay. And that's why I got so emotional right there. Okay, emotional for you too. Oh yeah, I was bawling my eyes out. Okay, so then as a result, so how long did that conversation last? It lasted about 4:15 when it started. We're talking about the house as well. Okay. What did you say about the house? Like we needed to sell the house, like there's no way we can stay in this house and have another kid. What did you say about the house? Like we needed to sell the house, like there's no way we can stay in this house and have another kid. And being able to keep everything afloat. And she was going to be like, well, where do you want to move then? And I was like, we could move to Brighton. We could move up there. Yeah. Okay, so I think it was Brighton that we could move to Longmont. We could move like, you know, wherever. So much cheaper. Okay. And she was like, because she already contacted the realtor the week before her email. Oh. To see like what she thought. And that's like what I actually contacted Ann that day. Like, well, like pretty much probably about 8 o'clock that day. Who's Ann? The realtor. Oh, okay. Yeah. Ann's like, we're like, if we can get the ball rolling, like see what she thought. So you and your wife called a realtor, emailed her. Okay. And then you have this conversation early in the morning, and it wasn't a shock to either of you. No. Or a surprise? It was the next step? Yeah. In a long conversation you have to have? Yeah. Leading up to, okay. Yeah, it was. This was on like a, it's like, like a big thing like we had like it was. Yeah. Just like that this was. Okay. It would hit, that's why it was like an emotional conversation. Sure. Like, because it wasn't just like, oh, it came out of nowhere, like left field type of thing. It like, we knew like something wasn't, we knew about what we want to do with the house. We knew like what was going to go on with it really. We knew something was, Okay. Is it accurate to say then that you were away from each other when she was in North Carolina at that time, and then she was in Arizona? Maybe the two of you knew that this could have been time you were talking, and so when you finally got together, it's like, we can't wait another second, we're going to talk? Mm-hmm. Is that right? Okay. Now tell me if it's wrong. No, you're right. Okay. So then this conversation starts at 4:15. You talk about each other and your marriage, and you talk about the house, and then what? That's when the conversation ended, and we talked, and that's when she said she's going to take her friend, or take her and the kids to a friend's house. Who is? Which friend? That's what she did. She did not say. That's the on. So she did say, I'm taking the kids to a friend's house? Yeah. And you're sure she said that? Yeah. You're positive? Yes. Okay, that's good. Now we're back to blowing off steam. Yeah. Probably which we like, right? Yeah, that's what I like. Okay. So let's, if we're going to play the DVR, let's rewind 5 minutes. So we're at your house and we're talking about the house. You're seeing this isn't going to work with the kid. We're going to have to sell this house. And then how do you remember what led up to her talking about the kids? As far like talking to her friend's house? Yeah. Like what conversation did you guys have? That's when I rolled out of bed, and that's when she pretty much told me, like, I'm taking the kids to a friend's house. And I'll be back later. And you're sure she said she'll be back later? Yeah. On a scale to 1 to 10, how positive are you? That's a 10. A 10. Yeah. Okay. So she said, I'm going to take the kids to a friend's house, but I'll be back later. Why? From what I just told her, that doesn't make sense, because I know you'd be at work. When did she have to leave? That's the thing. Like, I'm not sure why she wanted to go somewhere. Okay. But that's what she wanted. Like, she didn't want to be in the house after what we were just talking about. Fair enough. You just talked about it. Yeah, it's no longer mentally, emotionally her house then. Uh-huh. Okay, so let's focus. I'm going to take my kids to a friend's house. What does that mean? Hopefully that she trusts. Hopefully it's someone she knows pretty well. And hopefully maybe they had a kid that Bella and Celeste could play with. But you have no idea who that would be? Because we have exhausted all of them. All the people. Okay. Does that surprise you? Because I don't know your wife, but maybe that's something that in her wheelhouse. Does that surprise you that she didn't say that and did that? It doesn't surprise me that she went somewhere. Like she said, could have been just a play date. Okay. But she's very vague on the fact that she's just was going to a friend's house. Okay. And didn't say who? Oh, but she's very vague on the fact that she's just going to a friend's house. Okay. And didn't say who? Okay. But she's very vague on the fact that she just said she's going to a friend's house. Okay. And she didn't say who. Okay. That's why I text her like if you could tell me where the kids are. What time did you text her? That was 7:40. Okay. And no word from her, obviously? No. Okay. So then we're at the, I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to go to a friend's house. You said she didn't say I'm going to take them somewhere to a hotel or to, no. You're positive she said that. I'm positive. To a friend's house. Yeah. And not just someone's house, but a friend's house. Yeah, because like, if it was a hotel, I would have definitely asked the question, like, why are you going to a hotel? Yeah, okay. That I wouldn't though, yeah. Okay. Where can we look to find a friend that you might not know about? Honestly, Facebook's like the only place. Facebook. Because, okay. Because that's the one she frequents. Okay. And that's the only place? Yeah. And then he asks for her Facebook account. He gets the account, okay? Okay, guys, so we've reached the end of this part because it's my chip filled up and I went through 2 camera batteries. So I think that's enough. It's quite long and I don't want to get too crazy. It's going to take forever to upload that. But let's just recap what we went over tonight, and then because it's been a lot, there's a lot of information here, and also reading Chris's text, you know, the way he said it takes a long time, but I just wanted it to be as authentic as possible. But let's just take a look at what we learned in this video. Okay, let's see what we learned tonight, or what we went over tonight. We see Chris is fading fast. Chris tells us what he did by telling us what he didn't do. He talks too much to try to deflect the spotlight from shining on him. He has shown not one shred of emotion for his missing family. He needs constant direction. Can I put my name on this paper? His friends see he's not acting right. He's told Nick things to make Shanann look jealous and paranoid. We found out he was asked to prom. The walls are closing in on him. The cadaver dogs were used in the house along with rescue dogs. The video of him loading his family into his truck was obscured, so that was the video. He showed investigators he knew all of the camera angles, and he asked Nick and Amanda if he should search in the field. So many things here going on with our guy here, Chris, and he is really fading fast. Okay, guys, I hope that you got something out of that. I know as we go through the discovery, there's going to be things that are more interesting and things that have more information, but we really have to comb through it all if we want to get a thorough look at everything. And I hope that this was helpful to you in some way. If it was, could you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us, click on the notifications. We really appreciate your support. Have a great one. Bye-bye.